Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back, and maybe you have seen my review series that I'm currently working on, which is every month I give you a top 25 list of my favorite films from different genres until we hit the month of May, which is my birthday month, my 25th birthday, and I'm giving you my top 25 favorite movies of all time. If you haven't been here before, this is number 3 in that series, and today we're doing action sci-fi. I'm also going to link the other two in the description below, so you'll have horror there and comedy there, so look out for those if you want to watch them after you see this one. But with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. And I have my top 25, but I also have a few honorable mentions that didn't quite crack my top 25, but I still want to talk about for this video. So I'm going to give you those before we get into the actual list. And first off, we have Iron Man. This is the original from the MCU, the original Robert Downey film, and the MCU is probably my favorite movie franchise of all time. I love it to death. I was very in-depth and very, keeping up with it during the Infinity Saga. I feel like I've kind of fallen off of it a little bit recently because this new saga feels all over the place and just not very cohesive. I'm hoping they can bring that all back together with Secret Wars, but for now, that's how it is. The original Iron Man will always be one of my favorites. The next honorable mention is, again, a superhero film, and I feel like in this action sci-fi list, with me being a movie and superhero nerd, you are going to find a lot of these superhero films here. But we have the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. This is the ones with Tobey Maguire, and I grew up with these films. Even that third one that's schlocky and stupid, I still find it to be a lot of fun. And these movies were on all the time at my cousin's house growing up, and then when I got a bit older, I bought the DVDs myself, and I also watched them on repeat. I watch all the Spider-Man movies every time a new one comes out, so I'll watch all the Tobey, all the Garfield, and all the Holland ones every single time, and that is why this makes my honorable mentions. Last up for my honorable mentions, I have the Deadpool trilogy, and I love these 3 movies a lot. I just feel like they're too recent, too new in my life to really crack my top 25. I know you'll see some recent new films here, but they really got to make an impact on me. And I do think the newest one is my favorite of the trilogy, but the Deadpool trilogy had to be brought up for me on this video. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's get into my top 25. And at number 25, we have a brand new Bollywood film from about a couple years ago called RRR. If you have not seen this film yet, it's on Netflix, and it's an epic film. It's like 3 hours and 20 minutes, but it is so cool and so fun, and it was actually my introduction to Bollywood films. I've seen quite a few now ever since then, but this one is still my favorite. I don't know if it's because it was just so fresh and new to me, but Bollywood makes action films so different than we do, and they have such high energy and high octane, and they never stop, and they have twists and turns that we just don't do here in America, and it's really cool to see. At 24, I have a franchise because, to me, all 8 of these films are great, and you can't really separate them. That is the Harry Potter franchise, and I mean the original 8 films. I'm not counting those Fantastic Beasts films. Just the original series with Harry, Ron, Hermione fighting Voldemort. I think that is one of the best things Hollywood's ever created. I think that series is perfect action sci-fi, as cool as you're going to get with all this mystical and mythical things. And I don't find myself to be that big of a fantasy fan when it comes to movies. I know it's blasphemy that I don't love The Lord of the Rings, but I do love Harry Potter and the series they gave us. At 23, this film, I kind of struggled on where to place it. I knew I wanted to be on one of my lists, but I wasn't sure which one, and that is A Clockwork Orange. I ended up picking it to be on my action sci-fi list because when I was picking my list, I went through, my own personal thoughts, Letterboxd, and IMDb, and I saw what genres they put the films in, and this one kind of landed under a crime sci-fi, so that's why I put it on this list. It's not my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. I have other ones that you'll see higher on this list and on other lists, but I do love Kubrick, and I find this film to be just crazy, wacko, entertaining. At 22, we have Kick-Ass, another comic book movie. It's actually a spoof of comic books that became a movie based off the spoof comic book, so it's really cool and it's really fun to watch. I do like Kick-Ass 2 as well. You could loop it in with this one, but I think the first one is the best. This is a movie that I watched for the first time when I was in middle school, and I think it was the perfect time for me to watch it because it truly took off in my eyes, and I watched it on repeat that week. We rented it from the video store, and I've loved it ever since. I now own my own copy, and I probably watch it once a year. At 21, we have Creed, the boxing movie. This is the Michael B. Jordan sequel to Rocky, and I think this may be one of the best films in that Rocky franchise, if not the best. I mean, I know the original Rocky is a classic, but this Creed film is truly great, and I include it here because boxing, sports, I wanted to put that in the action category. At number 20, we have Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I love Michael Cera, and I'm pretty sure my girlfriend loves her too, because every movie we watch, she asks, is that Michael Cera when it's not him? These eyes are crying. He has been a big part of our relationship and the movies we watch with Superbad and Scott Pilgrim. He does a great job in this movie, like when he jumps out the window when Knives shows up. There's so many memorable moments, and the fact that they were able to take this crazy, wacko comic book and actually turn it into a cool movie with cool visuals and designs, I thought was awesome. I think this movie really lives up and will forever live as a great film. At number 19, we have an animated Spider-Man movie, and that is Across the Spider-Verse. If anyone had to ask me what my favorite Spider-Man movie is, I'd probably go like Spider-Man 2 or No Way Home. But if you ask me what the perfect Spider-Man movie is, I would tell you Across the Spider-Verse. This was one time of like few times I could count on my fingers of times that I've went to the theater, and the entire time through I was just immersed and amazed, and I loved what I was watching, and I never had any negative things to say. I never felt bored. I never felt like the movie lulled. I never felt like the lines were cringy. The entire movie is perfect and done well. At number 18, we have the newest Godzilla film, and I'm talking about like the Japanese Toho Godzilla films, not the MonsterVerse stuff we get. And we have Godzilla -1. This movie is outstanding. I've only seen it one time now, and it's already in my top 20, but I do love Godzilla. I love all those old Japanese Toho films they have, and I thought this one was one of the best of the entire series. But not quite the best Godzilla movie, because number 17, I have the original 1954 Godzilla from Toho, from Japan. And this movie is awesome because not only is it a great monster movie from Japan, but it's also a drama and a very sad story about how Japan saw what happened to them with the dropping of the nuclear bombs, and they warped the story into their own monster film, and this was kind of their reaction to what they had to go through from those bombings. At number 16, not a new movie by any means, but a new movie for me, and that is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've watched it for the first time about a month ago, and I think I've seen it twice now since watching it. And if you knew me outside of YouTube in my normal life, I don't think you would ever ping me as a person to be a fan of this movie. I never thought I'd be a fan of it either, but after watching it, I absolutely loved it. You know, I always tell myself, oh, I'm not that much into musicals. I'm not that much into like these weird, obscene films, but this one truly left a mark on me. I thought it was so fun, entertaining, and it's a movie that I could genuinely go back to every once in a while and rewatch. At number 15, I clumped another set of movies together here because I didn't really want to separate them and have them take over this list, because honestly, they would. So I just clumped them all together, averaged them out, and here we have the Avengers series, with probably my favorite being Infinity War, but I think I love all four of them, and if I did separate them, they would all four be here somewhere on this list. I love them so much. Like I said, the MCU is a big part of my life and a big part of my love for movies, and the Avengers films are like the penultimate thing that the MCU has given us so far. At 14, another newer film. This one falls more in that action category where I feel like a lot has been sci-fi, and we have Nobody, the movie that was a action movie ripoff of John Wick, starring Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad. And honestly, I think I like this film more than I like any of the John Wick films. I do love the John Wick films. I think 4 is my favorite, but as you'll see, none of those made this list, and Nobody did, so that's how high I think of Nobody. At 13, we have another Spider-Man trilogy, but this time it's not the Raimi one, it is the Tom Holland MCU one. Like I said, I think that my two favorite films are Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home. If I had to give you my third favorite Spider-Man film, it's probably Homecoming, and even though Far From Home gets a lot of hate, I still love that one too. I think that the whole Mysterio villain is awesome. I love the way they filmed everything and the fight scenes. I think it's truly an incredible film, and I don't get the hate for it. These movies are so much fun, and if I had to tell you my favorite characters from this MCU, it's probably Spider-Man, Thor, and the Guardians, and you'll probably see a lot of those films on this list. At 12, we have Baby Driver. There was a point in time when I was in college and I came home during COVID that me and my dad were watching a lot of new action films that we've never seen, and from that batch of action films we watched, I think Baby Driver was by far my favorite. I've told you before, if you've watched my videos, that I love a good mixture of music and movies, and the way that they use Baby Driver's character of Baby's hearing issues as his way of listening to music to like help him cope when he's on the job is just awesome. I love that mix. I love the songs that they pick for this film, and I love Edgar Wright as a director. As you've seen, this is his second film on this list for me, and if this list was like my top 50, you would see a lot more Edgar Wright here. At 11, we have They Live, a movie that's been around for 30, 40 years now that I had just recently watched for the first time this year. Since then, I've watched it 3 times now, and every time I watch it, I love it a little bit more. I just think that the messaging behind it is so cool, and how I feel like what we see in the movie They Live is things that are happening around us in our actual life. And I'm not saying like an alien invasion, but the way that things are like manipulated and shown to us. It's very interesting to watch it in today's day and age. And I even watched an interview with John Carpenter where he said that when he made They Live, he wasn't making a sci-fi movie, he was actually making a documentary, which I thought was really interesting to hear because I do see this kind of stuff happening in our real world, and it's cool to see it. At number 10, we have The Predator. This is the original Predator with Arnold from back in the 80s, and this might be one of my favorite like war action sci-fi films of all time. The fact that you have this whole team of like military men, strong military men who are very highly trained and very successful in their field, and they're all picked off one at a time by this Predator, and the only one who can actually go toe-to-toe with him is Arnold. It's really cool to see how they try to battle him, but no matter what they do, they can't take him down. And at the end, it's just this huge epic showdown of like man versus creature, and it's probably my favorite fight sequence of all time. At number 9, we have The Suicide Squad, and this is not the crappy 2016 one. This is the one that James Gunn made, which James Gunn is awesome. Everything he makes I've loved so far, so I can't wait to see more James Gunn films with him doing the DCEU or DCU, whatever they're rebranding it to now. I think The Suicide Squad might be my favorite DC movie as of right now, and looking at the list, yeah, I don't have anything DC higher than it, so that's a fair statement. The Suicide Squad is my favorite DC film, and I know a lot of people don't love it because they don't love James Gunn taking over the DCU, but if you put all that like film politics aside, this is just an outstanding, great film with a lot of heart, a lot of fun, and great characters. At number 8, I told you that superhero movies would kind of take over this list, and I feel like they are because we have Thor Ragnarok. This might be my favorite MCU movie to date. There is some MCU stuff higher on this list because I've kind of grouped things together, but in terms of like just picking one film to call your favorite, I think I'd go Thor Ragnarok. I absolutely loved Taika Waititi after this film. I've kind of lost love for him because of how he handled Thor Love and Thunder, which was just not good. But this film was a perfect blend of action, comedy, heart, story, and I really think it is the best film the MCU has ever put out. At number 7, we have Terminator 2, Judgment Day. This may be the best made action movie I have ever watched. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but I think it is the best made film that you've ever gotten in this action sci-fi genre. And of course, it was made by James Cameron, who's gone on to make like Aliens and the other Terminator and the Avatar series. So this guy knows sci-fi, he knows action, and he's one of the best to ever do it. At number 6, we have a pure action movie, and every time anyone ever asks me, Jacob, what's your favorite action film of all time? I always give them this same answer, and we have Point Break. This is the original Point Break back in the day with Keanu Reeves. I love this film. I love that whole like buddy cop vibe that this film gives off, even though they're completely working against each other. I love the whole buddy cop vibe this film gives off, even though they're completely working against each other and only half of them know that. It's a really cool vibe, a really cool story, and it all comes around to a perfect ending that I think if you haven't seen, you would all appreciate and you should all go and watch. Alright, cracking into my top 5, we have a Christopher Nolan film, and this is probably my favorite Nolan film. The guy is a great director. You could call any of his films your favorite and no one would even bat an eye at you. And he probably has multiple films you could put in the top 10 greatest films of all time. But for me, my favorite is Interstellar. I absolutely love this film, and the craziest part about it being my top 5 is I've only watched it one time. That's because it's like 3.5 hours long. You have to have like a whole day set aside to actually watch this movie, and I've only watched it by myself. I want to actually like show other people it the next time I watch it. Like I want to show my parents or my girlfriend or my friends, but it's really hard to find time to watch a 3.5 hour movie with other people. But I'm gonna find that time. I'm gonna show other people this film because I truly think it's Nolan's best. At number 4, a very new film for me on this list, a film that came out just a couple years ago and actually almost swept the Oscars with how much they won, and that is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. If you had to ask me, Jacob, out of all the 125 movies that you've put on these lists that you've compiled for this, top 25 journey you're on, which one would you consider a perfect film? I would honestly tell you Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I have talked about this film nonstop since it came out. I feel like a broken record telling people to go watch it, telling people to check it out, telling people to go find it. It is an amazing film. It has the perfect blend of characters, comedy, action, sci-fi. I mean, this movie consists of like time travel and like going through, I don't even know, like wormholes where things are just generating out of the air. It's like so out there, so extra, but at the same time, it has such a deep personal family story that can make anybody cry watching it. It is a beautiful, perfect film, and I truly think it's probably the best film on any of these lists I'm going to talk about. At number 3, we have the Guardians trilogy. I had to put all 3 films here because if you've heard me say it before, the Guardians trilogy is the most important trilogy of my personal lifetime. I love it so much. I come back to it every year. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. It makes me cry. It gives me every emotion. I love this trilogy, and I think that last one, that third one, is a perfect ending, and I really don't care if we get any more of this because it just wrapped it up so perfectly for me. At number 2, this film has been a part of my life for years now, and that is Jurassic Park. I have loved this film since I was a little kid, watching it on VHS with my cousins at my Nana and Papa's house, and I still love it today. I have seen this movie probably 50 times, and every single time I watch it, when we first get to Jurassic Park and we have that scene when they open up the car and they're standing up and they're looking at all the dinosaurs, I still get goosebumps. It still gives me chills. It is one of the coolest scenes they've ever put together on film, and the fact it can blow your mind still in the year 2025 is crazy. But at number 1, my favorite action sci-fi film of all time. I told you this guy would be on this list again because he is the king of movie making. It is Stanley Kubrick, and it is 2001: A Space Odyssey. This movie is amazing because it came out in 1968 and it still looks like something that is from the future today. The way they filmed this, the way they shot it, it had to have been all practical effects because it was the 60s and it still lives up to itself today. It's a great film. It's awesome. And I think the crazy thing about this one is I'm a person who really relies on story and a good narrative, a good, coming of age story, a good start to finish script that really shows where our characters are. And this movie is the complete opposite of that. It has no story. It has no overarching value unless you really sit back and take it all in and form one yourself. I just think it is so perfectly shot and created that it is my personal favorite action sci-fi film of all time. Thank you all so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, I have the links to the other 2 videos in the description below. And if you go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications, you'll see the next 2 coming out, which next month I have top 25 dramas. And then the month after that, I have my top 25 favorite films of all time. So please stick around, catch those videos when they come out. Make sure to leave a like on this video. Comment below your favorite action sci-fi films. I'll get back to all of you. I'll talk to you all in the comments. I love doing that. It's my favorite part of this channel is when you guys comment and talk to me. So thank you all so much. Keep doing what you're doing and have a great day.